Right then, it's a different setting, but it is the same video. This is 5 things that we learned from watching Manchester United bimble our way to a draw against Club Brugge in the Europa League. Number 1, a rare Romero mistake. Sergio Romero has been almost flawless as Manchester United's backup goalkeeper now for several years under several different managers. Last night against Club Brugge, we saw him caught in absolute no man's land, come flying off his line. And do you know what? I'm not 100% sure it was the right thing to do to come off your line in the way it did, but I'm also not 100% sure that it was the right thing to do to allow a player to maybe get the ball under control and come steaming into the box. Hindsight being 20/20, you look at it and you go, well, he shouldn't have fucking done what he did, Steve. And I go, yep, fair play. But it was one of those rare mistakes that we've seen from Romero. And unfortunately for goalkeepers, it is one of those things where the one mistake that you do make ends up in a result-changing sort of goal for the opposition. That's just the way it is. That's the breaks being a goalkeeper. Romero's been amazing as a backup goalkeeper for United for so many years. I guess this was coming at some point anyway, wasn't it? Number 2, McGwire was decent. Now, McGwire can manage to complete 94.6% of his passes, which is a brilliant completion rate. But of those 94.6% passes, he played 41 passes forward. Now, he only played 74 passes, which means over half of the passes that McGwire made on the night were forward passes. Now, if you go and look at any other sort of centre-half and any centre-back partnership, Jesus, that was harder than I thought it was going to be to say. If you look at any centre-back partnership around the world, what you're going to see is they pass the ball to each other a hell of a lot. Now, one of the things that I like about the back three is that it allows you the platform to build from. And that's why I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays the back three. I think he plays the back three because he lets the defenders step up into midfield. United have been heavily pressed lately, and we've struggled when teams come and press our back four. That's the way that United have made mistakes and allowed opposition chances. What we see with Harry Maguire is that he is, in that back three, given the freedom to use his very individual attributes, which are his ability on the ball, which is extremely underrated, I think. Him stepping up into midfield creates an overlap, and sometimes him just launching the attack from the back gives us the ability to move it forward. As I mentioned on the review last night, sometimes that's not necessarily enough. We need quality all the way through the pitch, and we just don't have that at the moment. So even if we're launching attacks forward from our defensive line into midfield, well, our midfield's just not good enough at the moment. Matic is a good stand-in and a good player to have around the squad, I think, but no one's considering him world-class or elite at the moment. When it was getting to those forward three players behind Tony Marshall, you're looking at Lingard, Pereira and Juan Mata. I'm sorry, but those lads just aren't anywhere near the level that they need to be at the moment. So even though we was doing good stuff from the back line, it wasn't translating all the way through the pitch. Now, 2 out of 2 take-ons means that our centre-half shouldn't be taking people on. That's a pretty good completion rate for that. 10 ball recoveries, 2 out of 3 tackles and 2 interceptions. It was a very solid performance from Harry. I thought defensively, I thought he marshalled his line all right. But on the ball, I thought he's shown us he's got something a little bit about him. And I think if you get a couple more players around him, people that can come and take the ball off him and move it forward into other players who are capable of doing stuff, then we might have a bit of a problem for people. Number 3, Bruno Fernandez was a bright spark. 8 out of 9 passes completed. Obviously wasn't on the pitch a great deal to influence everything, but you could see every time he was on the ball, he was looking to drive, to move it forward, to advance play, to make it dangerous. 5 passes in the final third, 4 shots, all of them blocked, 2 passes into the box, 1 foul suffered, 1 dribble. The quality of Bruno Fernandes, even in this short little cameo, is blatantly obvious for everyone to see. I don't think he's fully settled into being a Manchester United player just yet, but trust me, when this guy is, I think we've got an absolute gem. One of the things that I found myself noticing when I was watching him play in Portugal is how early he does stuff, how early he shoots, how early he passes, how quick he is in possession. One of the criticisms that I and probably a few others of you have had of Paul Pogba is that sometimes he likes to dwell on the ball. Rather than play the simple pass that was available to him, I'm going to beat a man, I'm going to do a step over, I'm going to do something a bit showy because I'm the world's most expensive signing, or I was at one point. I don't see that with Bruno Fernandes. I just see an eagerness and a spark to him, which I think suits the team mentality a little bit better. As a replacement for Paul Pogba, I think he's got the ability. I think he doesn't have the physical presence that Paul Pogba has, but I think that because he moves it forward, I think he's better for what this team is really looking for. Number 4, Pereira and Lingard, just not good enough. I think both of these players have had ample chances now. Pereira has played so many matches this season. I don't think anyone's under the impression that this kid hasn't been given the opportunity. This isn't someone like we're talking about Angel Gomez, Dylan Levitt, Jimmy Garner. This isn't someone we go, do you know what, we saw him a couple of times and he was all right, but maybe... No, this is a guy that's played week in, week out, different positions, different competitions, and the same result. You look at him and you go, wow, you've got everything you want to be a footballer. You've got great feet, you've got a brilliant touch, you've got a range of passing, you certainly don't mind shooting, but you've got the decision making of a paper bag blowing around in the wind. And that is what's going to let him down. And that's probably the reason why you see some like freestyle footballers. You go, oh my fucking God, how good must you be? But playing football 11 aside is so much different to even playing 5 aside. The decision making that you have, the involvement of your part in what creates a team is what makes you a good or a bad footballer. And that's why someone like Gary Neville goes on and has the career that he has, because his decision making was absolutely mint. Whereas Andreas Pereira probably can't even compare what he is in terms of a footballer compared to Gary Neville. But he'll never have the career Gary Neville had because he's got the decision making of a fucking child. I think Jesse Lingard has had plenty of opportunities at United, and I don't think that many people would be too arsed if he was kept around as a squad player. But too many times we've seen him start and play 90 minutes, and in those 90 minutes produce nothing. I think they only created 3 chances between them this evening. 79% or 78% completion rate for Andreas. Lingard signing with Raiola. Everything that's going on around the club at the moment and signing with Raiola, I think it's fairly clear he wants to leave. Maybe we should just let him. And number 5, as I mentioned last night in my review, the need for quality is huge. The key players that United are missing, McTominay, Pogba, Rashford, all starters in this team, all make a massive difference when they're in and probably make what we saw against Club Brugge a winning team. And that's the problem with United at the moment. There's too many people filling the spaces of what should be first choice players. We signed too many players that aren't obvious first choice players. And maybe even Agallo fits into that, although I understand the requirement for him at a certain time, which is why I think he's coming on the loan that he's coming on. When we sign somebody like Bruno Fernandez, when we sign someone like Harry McGwire, you know that they're going to be first choice, first team players. United need a summer where we probably sign somewhere in the region of, I want to say 5, but let's be honest, we're not signing 5. If we got 3, it would be a brilliant step in the right direction. If we managed to bring in Sancho and Grealish and probably a defensive midfielder, United would be a force to be reckoned with. Now, we'd still struggle beyond the starting 11, but we would at least have a starting 11 that if we was able to field it, we could compete. Because even now, even with all our fit players, you look at some of the European elite and you go, yeah, we're nowhere near that. We just don't have the X factor all over the pitch. We have a couple of decent X factors, and if someone marks them out of the game, oh, that was all we had to play. Sorry. United need real good reinforcements. Nobody thought Liverpool were competing. Everyone thought they were a joke defensively. They signed Van Dijk and they signed a new goalkeeper, and then suddenly there was a team that was competing for championships and going on the sort of run that they're currently on. I'm not saying United are 2 players away from doing that, but United are first choice players away from being a more complete looking 11. And then some smart investments where we can buy those players. If you look back, the Solskjaers of this world, the Jesper Blomqvists of this world, the Nicky Butts of this world. Nicky Butt isn't just a starter in this team, he's probably the fucking captain. That's the sort of player that we need to have as our periphery players that come in and rotate in and give the main guy a night off. It is a squad game, and you do need a squad to compete. And I think what we saw against Club Brugge was the squad players we have at Manchester United, they just don't have the quality to be Manchester United players. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to go and check out the review. And if you haven't already, go and check out yesterday's fixture list where me and Joe have a quick word about what's going on at Manchester City with their FFP issues, so we say. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.